Hello and welcome to Summer Games on the Commodore 64, and this was developed by Epyx back in 1984 and was the first entry in their games series that spanned Summer Games 2, Winter Games, World Games, California Games, and then they had a bit of a rehash, the Games Winter Edition and the Games Summer Edition, which maybe milking it a bit too far. It's yeah, so it's a fairly familiar menu system here that they use all the way up to World Games. And again, you can, if you've got more than one player, you can have some events are simultaneous, but you can flick between simultaneous or just alternate play if you change that setting there. Doesn't really affect me here. But let's compete in all the events. Again, fairly familiar. Sequence where you enter your name and pick your country. They used that again all the way up to World Games, and unfortunately they used the same music, which is pretty yeah, pretty naff really. This is correct. So first event's pole vault. So you're at the pole vault and you can pick what height you want to start with. We'll start with the default. Then what you do is you pick what pole grip, low, medium or high. You can start with low, but as you go up the heights, you have to change your grip accordingly. And for the low pole grip, what I do is to time it when to plant the pole. I normally wait until the tip of the pole is in line with the stairwell in the middle of the crowds. And as I go up the higher poles, I do it slightly earlier. You'll see what I mean. So plant the pole now, and push to kick up, and press fire to release, and that's it. Animation's pretty good, the graphics are really nicely done, especially for 1984, it's pretty amazing really. It really set a new benchmark for quality animation and graphics on the 64 when this came out. Oh, not the pole over. Oh, I forgot to kick up. Let's go medium. Why not? Yeah. So I didn't own this back in the day, and the first entry in the games series that I ever played was, in fact let's try a different height. The first entry I ever played was Winter Games on the Spectrum, believe it or not, which is not a bad port, but all these game series, certainly up to California Games, are best played on the 64. The summer edition and winter edition games, the multi-load's pretty hefty. You may be better playing them in one of the 16-bit systems. But I don't think those games, they don't have the same playability and appeal that the earlier games had, in my opinion anyway. So I wouldn't say I was a new player to this, but compared to all the other games, this is one of the last ones that I ever played, so I suppose it makes sense it's the last one that I ever reviewed. Or certainly one of the last ones. I'm too busy talking, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Right. I need the high pole grip. It doesn't matter, I'll fail anyway because it's worth going to the next event. But yep, so that's pole vault for you. It's quite a good event. On to platform diving next, which is quite fast and furious. I suppose it's quite like the real thing. So again, graphics are quite nice, and it's just a matter of, wasn't too bad. So what you do is you either go left or right or down to spin at different speeds, and then you push forward to level out at the right time. It's a matter of picking the time to do that, which I didn't do very well there. So most of these events, oh, that's terrible. Most of these events, there's no joystick waggling apart from the 100-meter dash. It's pretty much the same for most of the game series. It's more about skill and timing, and you can't just instantly master the events. You have to play them and learn how to improve. That's what makes these games so appealing to me anyway. It's the last ability that they have, just because they take so long to master. I mean, they're not hard to get into, but they take, practice to master, and that's what makes them so good. So this is not a joystick waggler. It's more about strategy. So you have a power bar which reflects, your strength. And if you go too fast too soon, the bar will go darker and smaller, and you've over egged it. And then it's just a matter of pressing fire to pass on the baton. I mean, it all looks very smart. Could have done with a bit more sound, maybe some crowd cheering or something, just to get a bit more atmosphere. Oops. Or some footsteps maybe, but it does sound a bit weird. Just eerie silence with the clock. I never seem to be able to win this event. More practice required. So, like all these games, they're best played on disc, but the cassette multi-load isn't too bad for this. It's quite rapid. So this one is a joystick waggler, but it's the only one that is. And it's going to be quite hard because I'm using the keyboard here. I'll try my best. It's easier with the joystick. Yeah, that was a pretty terrible time. So the next event is Gymnastics, and this is probably one of the harder events. There's different things you can do here, but let's try. So you've got to press fire to plant and press fire to release, and you can sort of spin, but again it's like the diving where you can spin and you've got to level out at the right time, but you can also press left or right before you jump on the horse, and that'll do a axial twist thing like that. And there we go. And for some reason it only gives you 2 attempts, I think, which is not a lot. Definitely more practice required than that. I didn't do very well there. Even though it seems to give me a score of 9.4, I don't know if that's a bug. Or maybe it's a total, it might be a total of the 2 scores I received. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Freestyle relay. So this is a swimming event. Again, it's not a joystick waggler, it's what you have to do is press right to launch, and then what you do is you press fire when your arm enters the water. You just keep pressing fire at the right moment, and then you push left to kick off the wall at the right moment. May have done that a bit too early. I mean, certainly, I mean, this is probably a lot more fun in two-player modes, this event. But in one-player mode, it would have been nice to have, you know, a computer pacer, or more than one even, just to make it a bit more exciting. Give it a bit more feeling of urgency. I know you've got the clock, but it's a bit meaningless when you don't really know how well you're pacing yourself. I don't think I'm doing too badly. Again, the animation's quite good. The background graphics are fine. It's just quiet, you know, maybe some crowd noises or something. Right, so that was that event. Right, on to the 100 meter freestyle, which is pretty much just the same thing, but with a single swimmer. And maybe they should have made this a joystick waggler just to add a bit of variety, but it just seems like a fairly redundant event because it's just the same as the previous event, but slightly simplified. Right, so that's that. And on to the last event now, which is skeet shooting. This, yes, it's not quite like the event in Hypersports, which is more about timing. But, you know, quick. I mean, this is about, you've got to position the crosshair as well as get the timing right, and it's quite fast, quite fast and furious. I missed the first one. That was an easy one. Sometimes there's one clay pigeon, sometimes there's two. But it only lets you have one shot, I think, at each one. I normally do better. I'm sure I got that one. Again, the graphics, they're nothing spectacular on this event, but they're pleasant enough. Sound is just some basic white noise really. And that's that, and that's Summer Games. I think it's just as good as any of the other games really. I mean, they're all pretty much, I mean, everybody's got their own favourites, but I mean, they're all worth playing. And you know, it's pretty hard to, you know, like every event the same, but there's certainly all decent events in this one. But yep, so I'll give this 8.5 out of 10. I mean, personally I prefer Summer Games 2, but this is still well worth playing. So 8.5 out of 10 for Summer Games. See you in the next video.